Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a bunch of news to go over today, so welcome to our bi-weekly news compilation video. I know that I put up a kind of news video earlier today, but that was on one subject matter that I believe deserved its own video, so it's up there if you haven't seen it. And some of you were asking, why are you still wearing a jacket? Well, let me show you why, ladies and gentlemen. The temperature outside, it's the 1st of May, by the way. The temperature outside is 34 degrees Fahrenheit, and the temperature inside the bunker is 51. Why is the temperature inside the bunker 51? Because I refuse to turn on my heater anymore until next winter. So that is why. Let's go ahead and get to it because we have a lot to cover. And I believe that everything we're going to cover today is very important, especially this right here. Prime Drinks facing lawsuit after tests show that each beverage contains 3 times the lifetime amount of forever chemicals. So ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you all drink this type of a drink, but I thought I'd put it out there. That way, if you do, you can do a little more research on your own. The manufacturer of Prime Drinks, which is a popular hydration brand created by influencer Logan Paul, is being sued after the beverages were found to contain 3 times the amount of forever chemicals that a person can safely consume in an entire lifetime, according to reports. Paul's electrolyte brand was found to contain a grouping of toxic chemicals that persist inside the body. Once you drink this or ingest this, it stays inside your body pretty much for the rest of your life, and it causes all sorts of illnesses and even cancer, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? Forever chemicals have also been found in a lot of drinking water, not that only come out of your faucet, but that are also in bottled waters in stores. So instead of buying bottled waters, yes, I'm going to go ahead and plug Simpure because I think they make an awesome product. Go ahead, take a look at the link. I have a 20% discount code and get yourself for your house a reverse osmosis system, which pretty much gives you the closest thing to pure water, or pick yourself up a bottle that has a filter on it that filters the water down all the way to 0.1 micron. Ladies and gentlemen, don't trust anyone with your water. Don't trust anyone with the stuff that you drink, because you're the one that's going to have to live with it down the road when you find out that you have some kind of an illness. No one's going to come and save you. You have to do these things for yourself. Biden tax increase says it won't hit the middle class, says Secretary of the Treasury Yellen. Ladies and gentlemen, they're pretty much telling you that it will hit the middle class. Tax increases hit the middle class most all of the time. It doesn't matter if they say, oh, we're just going to increase the tax on billionaires. It's going to hit the middle class mostly. So don't believe this. All of these tax increases, the 45 point something percent capital gains tax, that's pure theft, in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. And what will happen is that we will see talent leave this nation. Let me go ahead and talk about this for a little bit because I think it makes a lot of sense. So you know how some people look for greener pastures? Like if you have a job and you're not treated well, maybe you're not paid what you think you ought to be paid, you look on to another job. You look on to go to work somewhere where they appreciate your talent, your skills, and they pay you according to what you believe you are worth. Same thing with nations. If we have billionaires here that are making products that make our lives better, if they're not being treated well here, if they know that they're going to have to work to give away 50 and more % of every penny they earn, they're going to look to greener pastures. They're going to look to other nations where they're going to be treated better. Now, I think that this is kind of a funny article. California Governor Newsom invites design suggestions from public for new $1 coin and receives sarcastic replies. And this is what you call American ingenuity, and that is why we have to keep our talent here and not tax them out of our country. But check this out. I mean, doesn't this really portray, let me know if you live in California, if this portrays at least the area that you live in. I think it's an actually really cool coin. I would actually buy several of these coins if they came out with this and sold them. I definitely would. Here's another one. I mean, it's pretty much what I see on videos when people are portraying how California is dying. I think it's 4 altogether. This is actually a pretty nice looking one. It looks like an old school, except for the tent, of course. The tents are colored, but it's actually a nice coin. And I think there's one more. And here's the last one that they have. Ladies and gentlemen, California, in my opinion, is lost. I really am sorry to have to say that for those of you that still call California your home. But I believe that as time progresses, it's only going to get worse. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. So we should look to California to see what these progressive policies are going to do to the nation as far as what they've done to California and other states and or cities that follow the same policies. This is a very, very good article. I recommend that you come back and read the entire thing. I'm only going to go over a little. This is from an interview with Mr. Doug Casey, which in my opinion is one of the best financial analysts that there is out there. Years ago, Doug Casey mentioned in a correspondence to me, empires fall from grace with alarming speed. I've told you all before, and I'm not the one that came up with it, obviously, it's from me studying history, that when we fall, it's going to be in a hurry. We've been falling very slowly, year over year over year, decade after decade after decade, right? But when the empire of the United States of America finally falls, it's going to be, boom, in a hurry. I think the saying goes something like this. When something crashes, it's slow for the first 90%, and then the last 10% is very fast. So that's why you have to make sure that you stay prepared, always. All empires follow the same cycle. They begin with a population that has a strong work ethic and is self-reliant. Those people organize to form a nation of great strength based upon high productivity. This leads to expansion, generally based upon the world trade. At some point, this gives rise to leaders who seek not to work in partnership with other nations, but to dominate them. And of course, this is when a great nation becomes an empire. Now, let me give you an example, ladies and gentlemen. Let's say you have a mom and pop shop and you guys sell tacos, right? And your tacos are awesome. I mean, they are awesome. So you started out in a truck and you're selling tacos from your truck and you're being able to make a living selling tacos from your truck. And then you're like, you know what, man, we're doing really good. Why don't we set up a little brick and mortar area, right? We can use our trucks for whenever there's a fair or an event or something like that. But let's have a little brick and mortar area so that we can expand. And then you expand to that brick and mortar area and you're doing great. People love your stuff. You're making good quality tacos and people love them and they're willing to pay what you're asking for them. The American dream. But then you go ahead and expand to another one and another one and another one. 5 years later, you find yourself with 75 or 125 of these little individual taco locations all over the state or maybe even states. Well, now you can't really manage it as well as you did when you had 1 or 2 or 3. In other words, instead of being your own little taco nation, you became an empire. And now you can't manage it as well. And now instead of thinking how you can better serve the customers, your citizens, now you're thinking about how you can keep expanding so that you can put Taco Bell out of business. Eventually, we have something go with the economy or something happens and you're gone. It's over. Same thing with a nation. Once you get too greedy and once you forget why you became who you became, you will end up losing it all. But the decline began in 1960s when the U.S. started to pursue unwinnable wars, began the destruction of its currency, and began to expand its government into an all-out powerful body. And isn't that what's happened, ladies and gentlemen? A lot of people don't like to believe this. They don't like to listen to this. Oh, this is gloom and doom. But you have to take a look at what he's saying. Is it not what has happened? When I talk about the Cloward and Piven strategy, which I'm hearing people on YouTube talk about the Cloward and Piven strategy more, which is great because people need to understand what it is. If you don't know what the Cloward and Piven strategy is, please look it up. I've done videos on it and you will see with your eyes that it's actually been happening. So when I talk about that, some people are like, oh, you're just gloom and doom. Oh, you don't love your country because you want it to fail. No, I don't want it to fail, but it's failing. Why? Take a look at history, ladies and gentlemen. It's happened before and it will happen again. And that is why this is the Alaska Prepper channel, because I live in Alaska and I think we should all be prepared to the best of our abilities. Global banks are telling us that the dollar is pretty much done. World Reserve status allows for amazing latitude in terms of monetary policy. The Federal Reserve understands that there is constant demand for dollars overseas as a means to more easily import and export goods. The dollar's petro status also makes it essential for trading oil globally. This means that the Central Bank of the United States has been able to create fiat currency from thin air to a far higher degree than any other central bank on the planet while avoiding immediate effects of hyperinflation. What happens when our dollar is not being used as much as it is now? We are going to see inflation get even worse. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've said this before, but if you think that inflation has plateaued, it has. But we're going to see another round of inflation that's going to be worse than the one that we just saw for the last couple of years or so. So you better strap on your boots for that one. Remember I told you that the U.S. government is in talks with Tesla or with SpaceX, right, to go ahead and purchase several of their rockets, because there will come a time where they have to take those rockets that SpaceX makes and they're going to go ahead and attach them to their printing press in order to be able to keep up with the amount of printing that will be needed in order to save the system, at least to save the system according to like the Federal Reserve and the Treasury and the government, etc. For us, it'll be game over because there will be zero value in what we hold in our retirements, in the bank, etc. And if you are a working person and you're not getting prepared, you better start getting prepared, because the only people that will survive a hyperinflation event will be those people that hold assets. And your average middle class, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't have $500 in the bank. Your average middle class and lower class, they can't have a $400 emergency. Your average middle class or lower class live paycheck to paycheck at a rate of about 70% of the population. The time is coming soon for the U.S., and it may be in the form of a brand new Bretton Woods-like system that removes the dollar as world reserve and replaces it with a new digital basket structure. Now, the old Bretton Woods type system was when it put the dollar as the reserve currency of the world. The new Bretton Woods type system is going to be when it is removed as reserve currency of the world, Global banks are essentially admitted to the plan for a complete overhaul of the dollar-based financial world and the creation of a CBDC-centric system built on unified ledgers. What they're saying is that they want to have a digital system that is built on the value of all of the currencies and put together into one currency. And who wants to hold the power to that one currency? The World Bank, of course. And for the slap in the face of the week, ladies and gentlemen, new Biden energy rules will raise the cost of a new home by $31,000. But don't worry, all of the added taxes that he wants to push through, they're not going to affect the middle class. So we should be able to handle this. Unfortunately, I feel very sorry for the generation that's coming up that will never be able to afford a home. Having said that, I hope you got something out of this. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.